Welcome to yet another episode on using the full-scale Graboids, this time when they burst through the floor in Chang's market. Now, the interior of Chang's was shot on a soundstage in Valencia, just north of Los Angeles, and that's the market under construction. And I think this is Bert and Heather's, but there is also video.
Stage 3, where Chang's is, and Stage 7, where Bert and Heather's is.
A side detail here, my dad, who shot most of the lost tapes, didn't shoot this stuff. He didn't like Los Angeles, and he wasn't going to follow us when we moved there, so it was up to me and a couple of other people. There isn't much, but there are some fun details. First of all, the store is entirely inside this big building. Here, I am looking through a store window at Ron Underwood, doing an interview for press people visiting the set. So you could be wondering, well, when we're inside the store shooting, what does the camera see outside the store windows? Well, here's the answer from back in the day. We had this, a giant, backlit, almost life-sized photo of the Street of Perfection outside the store. These days, with digital effects, I guess no one really has to do this anymore. Here's another detail I was thrilled to find. Down in Valencia, we also rebuilt the exterior of Chang's Market. Well, at least this much of it. And the reason was this. During the whole shoot in Lone Pine, we had been unable to get a very important shot. This one. The whole town sadly waving goodbye to Val and Earl as they ride away on horseback for help. On the day, we just ran out of sunlight before we could get it. So for the rest of the shoot, we kept trying to squeeze it in at the end of some other day. But it needed nearly the whole cast, and it had to be at sunset. Well, it never happened. So we came up with the idea of, let's shoot it in Valencia. We built the piece of Chang's on a hill above the sound stages. And yes, we still had the bulldozer with us. Here, the crew is just using it as a production vehicle to haul up the big generator to light our shot. Another thing amused me about this location, it literally overlooked
Magic Mountain,
California's Magic Mountain theme park. Apparently that amused me a lot because I kept shooting it.
Magic Mountain. This is what I'm going to do.
I am leading somewhere with this. The location cried out for a gag shot, which we ultimately did. And in re-watching the videos, I discovered it was 2nd Unit Assistant Director John Woodward's idea. Yeah, that's Melvin Shedd. We did a few shots with that too.
Actually, what we ought to do is leave it running. Spin around, leave it running. Actually, we ought to have you over there. Spin it around, and you're standing there like this.
Well, Ron had me direct the shot, so John's idea became the gag that's been in my personal outtake reel all these years and is now finally on the 30th anniversary DVD by Arrow. In the end, you couldn't see Magic Mountain all that well, but at screenings I'd describe it and I'd usually get a laugh. Okay, I know I promised a Graboid was going to smash through the floor of Chang's. This is the floor, already rigged as a very delicate breakaway structure. The Graboid was down in a pit underneath the soundstage. In fact, we had to pay extra to dig that pit. And yes, the only shots I have of it are these stills that include my son Matt, who was visiting the set. But importantly, you can see part of our all-new Graboid rig here. Because the air-powered elevator system we'd used out in Lone Pine just had not worked well, in Valencia we opted for different tech, very low tech. The Graboid was mounted on a custom battering ram. The whole rig ran along these tracks. This is the later setup for going through Bert and Heather's wall, which I will get to, I promise, but it's the same rig in the pit under Chang's. The thing was completely people-powered. We were pretty confident it was a better way to go. And the team could keep the Graboid in perfect balance with these massive lead counterweights in the back of the rig. So, back up in Chang's, this first shot also has something else I really like. Probably the only time you glimpse us consulting our big book of storyboards. Ron is discussing the shot with the stunt guys. Here's one more detail I just have to do. Have you ever noticed that when Walter takes pictures of Melvin and Mindy, they're sitting in a barber chair? It's one of the many wonderful details added by our production designer. Perfection is so isolated, of course, Walter's also the local barber. They pulled out the barrier that had been keeping anyone from accidentally falling through the delicate floor. Ron Underwood was nervously waiting. The Graboid creators, Alec Gillis and Tom Woodruff, were on hand, of course. We were running 3 cameras because, well, you do that when you can only shoot something once. One was way up high on this platform looking down at the floor. And as on any day with a big stunt, word had leaked out and a big crowd of looky-loos was crammed into our set. Among them was this guy. Don't know who he is, but he had a better camera than me. Where is his video, darn it? Also on hand were our actors, because of course they need to watch what the stunt people do so they can match the action later. We were getting closer. The stunt people were ready. We started doing some very careful slow motion rehearsing.
Because when you say action, I'm going to point to Mike. Mike is going to say 1, 2, 3, action. That's what we'll go through. 2, 3, action.
And we were finally ready to roll.
I saw some lights go off back there.
Oh yeah, we're gonna only have lights on the monster. That's so they're turning off the other lights. They're getting ready.
Roll sound, please. Rolling. Hey, Mark. See, Mark. Keep rolling. Keep rolling.
Listen closely and you can hear the graboid rolling down those tracks.
1, 2, 3, action.
Now, my camera angle here is actually terrible, but for the movie, our hand-powered graboid gave us one of our very best burst-ups. Not only that, the angles Ron chose for the other cameras were so different, editor Nick Brown was able to make the same action look like 2 more graboid burst-ups. So, with that shot in the can, we quickly moved on to get more shots from our storyboards. Here you can glimpse a creature effects guy down in the graboid pit. And here's a fun fact. Did you know a graboid's throat is so big
Everybody clear away from the creature, please.
that you can mount a seat in it? The mount went all the way down to that metal frame. The idea was to make it slightly more comfortable for the stuntman and Victor to be in the mount. Here, effects guy Larry is fine-tuning its position in the throat.
Sorry? Lock it off there! Kind of like that somehow.
That's good right there.
Now put some more weight on the back there.
Raise it up in the
Put
air.
a guy in there.
Larry's talking about those big counterweights I showed you earlier. Meantime, we were really happy to have finally gotten a good burst up. You can hear Ron and Brent as Victor's stuntman gets in position.
That it had a lot of power coming through the floor.
Yeah, that worked.
So the stunt guy's lying on the seat, but there's always a lot of waiting on a movie set, and it got uncomfortable with the graboid beak stabbing him in the back. They're prepping for the shot where the graboid swings violently from side to side, but they're being very careful because they've got a human being stuck in the end of this very heavy monster battering ram.
Move it slowly, guys. Slowly. Something like that's fine.
Okay, so
Now it's as high up as the creature can get,
the
right?
picture goes back after that.
There you go.
And that's all the video there is of main unit. I guess I got called away to do something else. But on another day, somebody grabbed the camera and got a little bit of second unit doing a couple of shots. And here's another one of those details I just love. Look how carefully the creature effects guy is touching up the dust on the graboid's beak. We were doing one of our favorite tricks, shooting in reverse. We actually pulled the stuntman out of the graboid's mouth, but in the movie we ran the footage backwards to give us this. Second unit did one other shot where a graboid bursts up from behind the counter. There was no pit under this part of the soundstage, but we got the idea that we could just use a graboid head and tip it up along with firing an air mortar full of debris. There's only one video take of it, and it must be the first one because, as you'll see, it had a problem.
And action! Keep rolling. He's there somewhere.
A little bit of dirt. Anybody got any dirt?
Cut! Cut it!
It's great wood, a little heavy on the dirt, huh?
Once again, thanks for watching, and hey, I've got a brand new plug here. I've just released my latest novel, Fraidy Cats Too, where my cat heroes Rolf and Herman meet the mummy. For those who enjoyed their previous adventure with the Frankenstein monster, this is the sequel. Fun side note, the cover art is by my writing partner of 40 years, Brent Maddock, who, when not screenwriting, is an accomplished cartoonist. So if you like cats or monsters, check it out. It's on Amazon, and I'll see you next time.